In today's video, we're going to look at why some men are so threatened by a woman who has positive thoughts and feelings about her body, and how you can build and reinforce your own positive body image. We're going to be talking quite a lot about some difficult things today, including a very brief description of the way an abusive ex of mine tried to damage my body image and why he was doing it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, and there's no description of physical abuse. Even more importantly, it backfired on him horribly and quite amusingly, which can make it much easier to hear. If you'd still prefer to avoid hearing about it, I'll be letting you know in the video before I start talking about that, and you can check the description to see when it's safe to jump back in. As always, you deserve a happy, healthy relationship. So don't forget to subscribe to make sure that you get all the tools you need to make that happen. Let's start by talking about what a positive body image really means. Having a positive body image does not mean that you look in the mirror and see someone who's going to outshine Beyonce. It doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means that you don't have many negative thoughts about your body, and that you do have plenty of positive ones. Now, let's be clear. We are not just talking about your appearance. That's going to be key later when we start talking about how you can build up a positive body image. Your body is so much more than just your physical appearance. Your body is the way you move around the world and how you interact with almost everything in your life. When you have a positive body image, you enjoy being in your body and you enjoy what your body can do for you. You can have a positive body image no matter what your body looks like. And it's really important to try. Having said that a positive body image doesn't depend on physical appearance, why do abusers and misogynists hate it so much when a woman has a positive body image? Firstly, abusers and misogynists, and by the way, there is a lot of overlap between those two groups, they work on the basis that a woman's value as a person is inherently tied to her sexual attractiveness to men. Some abusers aren't actually misogynists, and so they might not actually believe that your value is based on how attractive you are, but they definitely want you to believe it. And we're going to get into that later. But these guys want you to buy into this idea. They want you to believe that your worth is based on whether they think that you're attractive enough to sleep with or not. Now, for a misogynist, this reinforces his place at the top of society. If your value depends entirely on his evaluation of him, that's evidence to him that his opinion and his feelings and his thoughts are more important than yours, that he is more important than you are. Given how insecure the overwhelming majority of misogynists are, this kind of reassurance can be really important to him. For abusers, the motivation is slightly different. If your worth depends on whether he's sexually attracted to you or not, that gives him power. Your self-worth becomes something that he can give or withhold at a whim. He can use it to reward you in the earlier stages of a relationship, or he can use it later on if he thinks you're considering leaving, and he can withhold it in an attempt to punish you or to make you more obedient. So he's using your self-image as a tool. Now here's where I'm going to give the example of my abusive ex. So please feel free to skip ahead now if you would like to. Many years ago, I was dating a guy who turned out to be abusive. One of the first things he did to try to groom me to accept this kind of abuse was that he tried to make me feel insecure about my appearance. He would make little unflattering comments about my body or criticize the way I was dressed, and then he'd draw even more attention to those comments by apologizing profusely for criticizing the way I looked and pretending to worry about giving me body image issues. Now, I was in my 20s and I had an ego you could bounce rocks off, thank goodness. This really didn't worry me. which was actually unbelievably frustrating for him. So he decided to take it up a level. He started a conversation about what our worst faults were. And then he pretended to be worried about telling me my worst fault. He kept saying that I'd get upset or I'd cry if he told me what he thought my worst fault was. Now, he knew I'd be too curious to drop it. And yeah, he was completely right. When he finally allowed me to persuade him to tell me what it was, and he had every intention of doing so from the start, but what he said was that I had a fat bum and thighs and cellulite. Now, here's the bit he didn't expect. He was hoping and assuming that this was going to make me insecure and vulnerable. I, on the other hand, was delighted. The guy I was in love with just told me that my worst fault in the entire world was a part of my physical appearance. I must be Mother Teresa. I was utterly thrilled that I seemingly had no character flaws that were more important than my butt. Now, this wasn't actually me trying to mess with him. I was genuinely delighted, and he was secretly furious. Now, this isn't speculation about what he was thinking and what he was intending and what he was thinking and what he was feeling. I confronted this guy much later on about the whole range of his abusive behavior, and he admitted that this had been a calculated effort to undermine my self-esteem by undermining my body image. And if I'm honest, I got lucky. I had the ego to withstand that kind of grooming, which made it much easier later for me to get myself out of a very bad situation. And much as it now feels like a kind of funny story, it could have turned out very, very differently. Okay, so if you skipped ahead, welcome back. Sorry about that. We all know that abusers want power over others. That's a key part of what drives them and a part of what the abuse gives them. But why do they so often choose a woman's body image as the tool to try and control her? Well, it's not just abusive guys who give us body image issues. In fact, they're not even the only ones actively trying to do it. Advertisers, cosmetics companies, plastic surgeons, dentists, quite a lot of fitness professionals, and even a lot of influencers make significant amounts of money from trying to make women hate their bodies and want to change them. They sell us an impossible ideal of how we should look, and society makes us feel bad for not being able to live up to that ideal. And let's be really, really clear about this. When I say they set us an impossible ideal, I'm not exaggerating. The use of image manipulation is everywhere, and many of the body shapes and appearances that we see online are actually not physically achievable without image manipulation or surgery. Even little things like false eyelashes seem ludicrous when you think about it. I agree, they look incredible, but we are literally using glue to stick something as close as possible to our eyeballs. It blows my mind a little bit that we all accept this as a perfectly normal thing to do, and we do it because we want to look good. And I'm not immune. So abusive guys are simply piggybacking on something society is doing to us anyway. They choose to target our body image because they know that they have the full weight of social pressure behind them, and that gives them a pretty good chance of success. Bluntly, they do it because it works. Now, this goes some way to explain why they get so angry when a woman has a positive body image. They want to be able to control us, and they want to be able to hurt us. Honestly, they often want to do it with as little effort as possible. When you have a positive body image, you notice their efforts to undermine you. You might call them out on it. Their efforts to control you aren't working, and they feel like they are losing their position of power. They then have to decide whether to turn up the pressure in a different way or give up and move on to someone who's going to be an easier victim. That's why abusers hate women having a positive body image. Given that thwarting prospective abusers sounds like a pretty fantastic thing to do, how can we help to build up a positive body image protect ourselves, and be happier in the bargain? Well, the first thing to do is to recognize all of the wonderful things that our bodies do for us. Rather than focus on what your body looks like, think about what it has enabled you to do. Your body lets you hug your loved ones, walk your dogs, or swim in the sea, whatever it is that you want to do. Focusing on that rather than your appearance can help you start to think about your body in a new way. You're thinking about function rather than aesthetics. Now, this can be difficult if you have a disability. Honestly, I don't want to fall into the toxic positivity, think yourself happy, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade camp. Having a disability means that sometimes your body stops you from doing things that you want to do. And I don't want to undermine that or invalidate any of your feelings around that. If this applies to you, you might find it easier to aim for body neutrality rather than body positivity. And some days you're just going to not feel happy about your body at all, and that's okay. As well as thinking about what your body can do, you can think about the ways that your body lets you experience the world. Your body is essential for all of your senses. Touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing all happen through your body. Touch and taste tend to be the easiest to use to help improve your feelings about your body. It might sound surprising, but learning more about how you like to be touched, especially during sex, can boost your positive body image. It's a really sad fact that many women are so focused on pleasing their partner that they don't really know what they want or what they like in bed. Taking the time to really understand your body and what feels good to you helps you to feel more connected to your body. The final thing is that it's really helpful to try to limit how far you compare yourself with others. You have one body, you live in it. Whether someone else looks prettier, is thinner, has bigger boobs, has more muscle, whatever it might be, is completely irrelevant to your own worth. So that's our video on why abusers hate it when a woman has a positive body image and how to improve yours. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.